Sure is.
We had 2 days where we just got back into it. Okay, Thursday and Friday we reviewed adding and subtracting with rational numbers. We know rational numbers are negatives and positives. We know they are our whole numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We know there are natural numbers, which include 0. We know that there are integers, which include -1, -2, -3, -4, and their opposites, 1, 2, 3, 4. Rational includes fractions and decimals. Okay? We're still going to be dealing with that. Unit 5, though, we are multiplying, and dividing. And this is day 1. For those of you who are new to the class, if you don't know what that funny little symbol is, that is my and symbol. And if you're also new to the class and you're like, wow, he writes like a child. Correct, it doesn't get any better. I'm hoping that my son has better handwriting. But by the time that he needs to write letters, it will probably be all computerized and I'll never need to actually handwrite anything. Multiplying and dividing. We will get into positive and negatives, probably on Wednesday. Today, all we're worrying about is fractions. So today's lesson is going to be a review. Some of you might say, Mr. H, I already know how to do this. And I'm going to say, great. Most of you are going to just keep your mouth shut because you're like, nope. If he calls on me, I'm going to screw it up. I would guess more in the second camp than the first camp. How about you, Ms. Armstrong?
Go on 50-50.
You think 50-50. You think 50% of the people are going to know what to do.
Yep.
I think you're a liar. I think Mrs. Armstrong's a liar. I think she needs to move to Alabama to her llama farm. I think she needs to go there quickly. When multiplying fractions. So this is going to be when multiplying fractions. There's 2 steps. Multiply the numerator times the numerator. When I say numerator, and we're talking about fractions, which number or where would the numerator be? Kendall?
On the top.
On the top. So I'm going to multiply my fractions, the top number by the top number. When we multiply, it's called a product. That's the answer of a multiplication problem. So I'm going to multiply the numerator by the numerator to get my product, which is an answer. Everybody with me? Guess what? When I multiply that numerator by the numerator, it stays in the numerator. Does not stay the same, but it stays in the numerator. So we've got the numerator by the numerator. And we said this was in the top. Guess what we're going to do next? I know. We're all raising our hands real quick. I'm going to wait for, I want at least 3. Right now I've got 1 hand. So we just multiplied the numerator by the numerator. What else do we have to do? There's 2 hands. There's 3, 4. Oh man, 5. Let's keep on going. This is great. No, oh, Maddox clapping. That means Maddox knows it. Cece, what do you think we're going to do next? If we multiply numerator times the numerator?
Denominator.
Yeah. So the second step is multiply the denominator times the denominator.
Nice use of math language.
It was.
Easy by using your denominator.
Hey, Cece. Hey, Cece. Hi, Cece. Cece. The denominator. Where is that at in a fraction? You said bottom. The denominator is in the bottom. Oh, man. It's Monday, Mrs. Armstrong. I'm going to make this fun whether it's not or
Fun Monday.
fun day.
Fun day Monday.
Nice. Yeah. But that's not as much fun as Fat Fun Friday.
No.
I do enjoy Fat Fun Friday. So, multiply the numerators, multiply the denominators. And then, this is the step that, unfortunately, I believe you're going to screw up. What do you think we're going to have to do? Owen?
Add them.
No, we're not going to add anything when we're multiplying. And this is the step that we first started off on Thursday when we reviewed. Ada? Simplify. Great job, Ada. Simplify the fraction. You need to know your multiplication rules to help simplify, but you've got to simplify the fraction or it's not completely done. So, when multiplying fractions, numerator times numerator, denominator times denominator, simplify. So we get a product, and then we simplify. We ready to try some examples? Listen, just nod. Pretend like you're listening to me. Steph, are you ready to try some examples? This is where you just nod. Good, good. Lauren, how about you? Yeah, this is where you're nodding. Good, okay. Miss Armstrong, it's going to be that kind of week.
No, it's Fun Day Monday. We're getting a good
Fun
start.
Day Monday. So many things just went through my head, and there's a filter. I'm glad. I'm glad. Here we go. So, we've got a fraction of 3/7. We've got a fraction of 2/3. Wait a minute. We have a problem. Our denominators aren't the same. What do we have to do?
Make them the same.
Nope. Oh, and read the directions.
Multiply.
So what are we going to do?
Multiply.
Yeah. Folks, in multiplication and division, does it matter if our denominators are the same? Absolutely not. Okay? Multiplying and dividing fractions are so much easier than adding and subtracting because it doesn't matter if our denominators are the same. So we're physically going to multiply the numerator by the numerator. And I'm going to show you how I set this up. I will always have my fraction written horizontally like this. I don't want to write it vertically, where I do something like this. Because that doesn't even look pretty to me, right? I don't like that. So I'll always have it written horizontally, which means left to right. And then I'll put an equal sign, and I'll put a fraction bar. Okay, remember fraction means division, right? So division sign. And then I multiply across. 3 times 2. Addie. Oh, Addie, you're a genius. There's my numerator times the numerator. That's my product right now is 6. Denominator times denominator. Jenna? 21. Ba-bam. Jaden, don't shake your head and no at me. What's wrong with you? Jaden, no, sir. On Fun Day Monday, I'm always right.
You didn't simplify.
Well, you're a jerk, Jaden. I didn't simplify. Okay. What do I need to simplify, Brooklyn, since you never smile in class? Go ahead, Brooklyn. What do I need to simplify by? Very good. Have to simplify by 3. They are divisible by 3, which means divisible means we have to divide both the numerator and denominator by 3. 6 divided by 3 is 2. 21 divided by 3 is 7. So when I multiply 3/7 times 2/3, we get 2/7. Questions there?
This won't always happen, but in this particular problem, if you look at the fractions, if you know your factors, you have 3 times 2 and 7 times 3 in both numerator and denominator. 3 is one of the factors, so you know you can always divide by 3.
And we're going to teach a little bit of a trick tomorrow about cross simplification. But I'd put a star next to this one. Mrs. Armstrong is exactly right. So we're going to come back to this same problem tomorrow, if I remember. I've been hitting the head a lot. I don't remember a lot of things. There we go. Okay, try it on your own. Multiply this one on your own. 12 fifths times 6 fourths. 12 fifths times 6 fourths. Once you've gotten it, raise your hand. Have us come around and take a look. Remember, 3 steps. Numerator times numerator. Denominator, times denominator. Then simplify.
When you're done, let us know, please. When you're done, let us know.
Good. Simplify. If they're both even, you can always simplify. Let's go with about 30 more seconds. You gotta simplify that. If they're both even, can we divide by?
I know you're right behind me. I know you're gonna scream.
I'm not gonna. Why would I scream on Fun Day Monday?
You do that.
10! We're not gonna scream at you, Miss Armstrong. So, here we go. First step. Renee, what do I need to do? Times the what? Numerators. So 12 times 6, which is 72. Step 1. Step 2, Trinity, what do I need to do? Multiply the denominators. 5 times 4, 20. And I'm done. Yay! Elizabeth, am I done? Why not, Elizabeth?
You have to simplify it by 2.
Yeah, they're both divisible by 2. You know that they are divisible by 2 because those numbers are even. When they're even, we can divide them by 2. So now 20 divided by 2 is 10. 72 divided by 2 is 36. Are they still even?
Yes.
Oh, man. If they're still even, Jaden, what do?
Divide it again by 2.
Very good. So they're both divisible by 2. That leaves me 18 fifths. Wow. Questions on this one? One more, no help. Just raise your hand when you got it. Let's go. 7 fifths times 10 thirds. Go.
Can you simplify that? So can you simplify that?
Going over stuff.
So Kendall, what's it? I always come back to looking at my one's place, okay? There's a 0 here and a 5 here. What number do we know? We'll go with a 7 if it's 5, okay? Nice job, one.
Oh, you're doing really well. Really well. Okay. Numerator times numerator. Mr. Vescovi, 7 times 10 is?
70.
Mr. Vescovi, 5 times 3 is?
8.
That's adding. What's 5 times 3?
15.
15, good. Now, divisibility rules. In my ones column, if they're both 5s, both 0s, or a 0 and a 5, what can we divide by? Come on, I need some more hands. I need some more hands. Lauren?
5.
By 5. So these are divisible by 5. I keep my fraction bar. 70 divided by 5 is 14. The 14 needs to go in the numerator. 15 divided by 5 is 3. Yep, that's simplified as simplified can be. Questions, concerns, comments on multiplication? Good. So we're still dealing with fractions. Before we get to can you see that over there? Did you move this? Did you? Why are you laughing? Did you really?
No.
She did it, I watched her do it. Just to mess with you on Funday Monday.
The word reciprocal. You have heard me use the word reciprocal before.
Have we?
You have. We've used the reciprocal before.
Is it like a magic scale?
It is like a magical scale, yes. Now, we haven't spent a lot of time talking about properties yet, but the reciprocal is used in the multiplicative inverse property. So you might hear, hey, we're going to use the inverse of it. Yeah, it's not mathematically correct, but the reciprocal is better shown in, here, let me rephrase this. Let me try this again. I'm going to show it with you in numbers. You can write it however you need to make it make sense. So if I show you the number 7 divided by 2, its reciprocal is going to be what? Owen?
14 divided by 4.
No, that's an equivalent fraction. That's good. But reciprocal, the word that I like to use is flip. The reciprocal for 7 over 2 is 2 over 7. Okay? So the numerator becomes the denominator. The denominator becomes the numerator. So what if I've got 15 sevenths? Its reciprocal is what? Come on, let's raise hands. Taylor. 7 over 15. Questions?
Does this look familiar? You've seen this before? Yeah, okay. So it just took a little
Little
reminding
hint.
to come
And
back.
again, reciprocal, you'll hear, oh, well, it's the inverse. as you get into higher math, no, it's not the inverse. Okay? Ms. Thompson. So make sure that you write it down however you think you need to know. I like just showing it as numbers because most of us can say, oh, we're just flipping it. I don't like the words, well, reciprocal is just flipping a fraction, because that's not really what we're doing. But you can see that it's flipped. Questions there? Okay. So now we are in dividing fractions. Step one. Now I'm going to say this very clearly to make sure that we can make this make sense. And I have had many teachers say this incorrectly. Again, do I think that I'm better than most people? Absolutely. I mean, I am egotistical. I'm actually not even smart, but I can teach pretty well. So yeah, I think I'm better than a lot of people. But I've had a lot of teachers go, you can't divide fractions. And they're all haughty and you cannot divide them. Idiot. Yeah, you can. You can divide fractions. You just can't divide them the way that they're written. Okay? So, the first thing, when dividing, you must rewrite the division problem. Okay? The very first step is you must rewrite the division problem. Well, those teachers that say, hey, you can't divide a fraction, I understand why they're saying you can't. Well, we are dividing a fraction, but we can't leave that division sign in there. So here's the example. We have 2/3 divided by 3/5. Okay? So when dividing, you must rewrite the division problem. Well, how do we do that? Instead of dividing, you have to multiply by the, what word do you think? Addie? Yeah. So, rewrite the problem. Probably, what is that? Problem as multiplying by the reciprocal. So instead of having 2/3 divided by 3/5, how am I going to write this? Go ahead on.
3/2 divided 3 times 5/3.
Good. So Owen did the reciprocal of both numbers. Well, you don't need to do the reciprocal of both, just the number you're dividing by. So if we're just doing the reciprocal of the number we're dividing by, what's going to stay the same?
The first one.
Yeah, the first one stays the same, so it's going to be 2/3. Then what?
Times 5/3.
Times 5/3. So you cannot divide fractions the way that it's written. You must rewrite it as multiplying by the reciprocal. Not both numbers, you're just multiplying by one number's reciprocal. Once it's a multiplication problem, step 3, follow the multiplication rules. So 3 steps there too, even though it's like 5, but the toughest thing is knowing that as soon as you see a division problem, it must be rewritten. So I'm going to keep doing this problem. So then we have 2/3 times 5/3. That gives me 10. That gives me 9. Do I need to simplify that? No. So when I have 2/3 divided by 3/5, it gives me 10/9. Again, this right here is our moneymaker. So let's try one. Miss Armstrong, favorite number?
13.
Brooklyn, favorite number? Ms. Laycook, favorite number? Kendall, favorite number?
2.
So we have 13/7 divided by 8/2. Can we do this problem the way that it's written?
No.
So thumbs up, thumbs down. Thumbs up, yes, we can do it the way it's written. Thumbs down, we can't. Okay, so why not, Matic?
Because you have to make them reciprocal.
Okay, so tell me what I need to do. So tell me how to rewrite this problem, because that's what we need to do, rewrite the division problem. So how am I going to rewrite this problem? Take a look at your examples and let's see what we need to do.
Oh, you have to.
Does 13/7 stay the same or does it change?
It stays the same.
Okay.
And then the second one.
Wait, let's not get to the number yet. What happens to the division sign?
Multiplication.
Okay. And then what are we multiplying by?
2/8.
Which is what? Give me a word for what you just did there.
Reciprocal. It's the reciprocal of 8.
Very good. So we're multiplying by the reciprocal. Can we do this problem?
And nice use of
Yeah,
math
that was very good.
language, too. That was great.
So now we multiply numerators, we multiply denominators. Gives me 26/56. You guys have it. Really, everybody had great favorite numbers except Mrs. Armstrong. So, are we done? Why not, Carla?
You have to simplify it.
Okay, are they both even?
Yeah.
So if they're both even, that means they are divisible by 2. 26 divided by 2 is 13. And you might have to use long division. That's fine. I'm a little bit better at math. I can do this in my head, which is not a problem. But I'm going to show you long division here. 56 divided by 2, and you go, I don't know that off the top of my head. So I take 2 into 56. 2 goes into 5 2 times. 2 times 2 is 4. That's 1. 6 comes down. 2 goes into 16 8 times. 8 times 2 is 16. So it's 28. Okay, that's how I can still use long division. Are we getting this? Nope. Lauren, stop moving it. I'm joking, Lauren. You're fine. So that gives me 13/28. Questions there? Okay, try one on your own. Here we go. And here's what I want you to do. We're going to give you a minute and a half to try it on your own, and then I want you to talk to your table and use mathematical language and explain how you got what you got. 3/4 divided by 5/7.
Can we simplify that stuff? Once you're done, raise your hand. I'm just gonna come around and put that. Jack, you go. You good? Nice work. Yeah.
Once there are a couple of you at your table who have answered this and you have it correctly, talk to your table partners. How did you solve this?
Where's your work pen?
No, really tells me.
Are you feeling better? I was never upset.
Nice, nice work. Nice work. Why don't you guys talk about, how did you get your answer? What did you do?
I did what he did up there.
Divided by 5.
You guys talk about what you
Alright. Alright, so here's the deal. I should hear people at your table talking. Words I should hear are reciprocal, right? Multiplication, multiply, simplify. Alright, who feels confident enough to teach me how to solve 3/4 divided by 5/7? Okay, I am going to listen for specific language because I only speak math, right? So if you tell me to flip it or something like that, I won't know what you're saying. Okay? Renee. So the first one, the second one, the first, what do we call this? The first fraction stays the same. Okay, I understand that. So 3/4. Okay, so we turn our division sign into multiplication. I understand that. So the funny thing is, like, reciprocal isn't a verb. So we do have to say you find the reciprocal of. That's just the way to say it. So, what does this number become? Tell me that. I do understand reciprocal. I didn't hear you. Say it again louder. Okay, so we find the reciprocal. So you told me that 5 goes on the top in the numerator. That's okay. So what goes on top in the numerator? And what goes on the bottom in the denominator? Okay. Nice.
Good job.
Nice use of math language. What do I do next? Who can get us to that spot? Kendall.
You're gonna do 4 times 5. Or no, you're gonna do 3 times 7.
Okay, so we're going to, what are we going to do with 3 and 7?
Multiply.
We're going to multiply 3 times 7, gives us 21. What's the next step? T? Multiply 4 times 5. I love the math language I'm hearing. What does that give us? 20. What do I have to consider when I'm looking at the product, which is an answer to our multiplication problem? What do we have to consider, Owen?
If it can be simplified.
Okay, when we look at this, can this product be simplified? Abby? No, it can't. So our answer is 21/20. Nice job.
Great job, guys.